Business Spotlight, brought to you by Cross Rhythms and Baba Baboon.
I'm Sonya Farrell. This is Business Spotlight in partnership with Cross Rhythm City Radio and Baba Baboon. Joining me in the studio this week, we've got the lovely Charl Pearce from Newcastle-under-Lyme bid. Hello, Charl.
Hello, good afternoon.
How are you?
I'm good, thank you. Are you?
I'm good. Thank you for coming in to the studio here at Cross Rhythms.
Finally, we got here.
But thank you, Charl. Thank you again, honestly, for coming in here on Business Spotlight. Now, Newcastle-under-Lyme bid. Mm-hmm. What is it, and what are the aims?
So a bid is a business improvement district. So there's different bids. I think there's about 300 up and down the UK. The originated in Canada. So there's 310-ish about in the UK. So in Staffordshire, we've got Stoke-on-Trent City Centre bid, and I come from Newcastle-under-Lyme bid. So we're basically here to support local businesses. So businesses within the town centre, and make the town centre more welcoming for people who live there, work there, socialise there, supporting businesses, bringing events to the town centre. We operate under 3 different objectives. That's all very boring corporate speak, but essentially it's making the town centre a better place for everybody.
And when you say that, making the town centre a better place, I'm not going to shy away from it, and various conversations having with either businesses or members of the public, you still do get sometimes, and I can imagine, you're in the thick of it all the time with everything that you do down there at the bid, but you still do get this, maybe a bit of negativity about what a town centre looks like now. Yeah.
I mean, I think town centres have changed completely probably since the 90s. I think there's, one of the statistics I saw was in the 90s, a lot of high street chains were brought onto high street. So your likes of Clark's, your W.H. Smith, your Samuels, your Wilkinsons, a lot of those that have now left high streets. So I think they are leaving gaping holes really in high streets where they used to be, because everyone wanted one in every single town centre. And then when they all closed, it's left those gaps in town centres. And I think post-COVID, how long can we say post-COVID for? Is the first thing, like, how long are we going to be doing that? It's going to be like BC. Yeah. It's like PC. Is people shop differently, they socialise differently. I think that all has impacts on how town centres are looking. But I think one thing, especially for Newcastle, I'd say is, despite these businesses that are moving out of town centres, that are high street chains essentially, your big retailers, there are a lot of independent and entrepreneurs who've come out of COVID who've wanted to try something different. They want to want bricks and mortar businesses, and they want to go onto the high streets, and they are the ones that are opening up. And I think now people, the negativity, people aren't shopping on the high street as much, and they are the businesses that are missing out, I suppose.
So in Newcastle then alone, in the last 12 months, what kind of different new businesses have been coming through and making an impact?
I think in Newcastle, hospitality. I mean, one of the comments we get a lot on social media is, how many more coffee shops does Newcastle need? And the answer is probably a lot, because every time you go into one of those coffee shops, they're always busy. You can't get a seat in the majority of them. So it's that kind of cafe culture. People are, not everyone works a 9-to-5 job. They might be out socialising. They've got a lot of students in Newcastle, because you've obviously got Keele University, you've got the college as well. You've got people who are working, who might be on the lunch breaks, people working from home, but they don't want to work from home because, they want that cafe life, they want some socialisation. So all of those, and you've got an older demographic as well, and I think they all want a different kind of offering. They all don't want, your high street coffee brands. They might want a smaller independent or more of a greasy spoon. So I think there's an offering there for everyone. And when people say, how many more? I'm like, well, more, because I can't get a seat in my favourite one.
Yeah, I mean, and I know which one that is. But to be honest though, Charl, I'm actually going to agree with you, because I've been into Newcastle Town Centre quite a lot over the last few months during the daytime, whether it's for having meetings or just meeting up, or like you say, finding somewhere for an hour just to sit down and, have a brew. Yeah. And I've seen the new different sort of cafe and coffee shops opening up, and you're right. Yeah. Every time I've been down, they are full.
Yeah, they are. Yeah.
And the one I'm going to mention that I think is one that you like, and one that I like as well, is Pico Loco. Yeah. Now they started as what I believe anyway, tell me if I'm wrong, but didn't they start in the marketplace with a little base, and now they've got their own, like you said, bricks and mortar? So that's an example, isn't it, of just one that is in the town centre?
Yeah, I mean, Ben and Jonathan started. Jonathan, dad, father and son. John wanted a completely different career change. So during COVID, he literally set up a little Piaggio coffee van on the market. In just coming out of lockdown, when you couldn't, you could go out for like a walk and grab a coffee, and he started then, which was really brave, really stupid, really brave, because it's paid off. And then he upscaled. He went to then like a horse trailer, really busy on the market, and then eventually have moved the business into their own bricks and mortar premises, and they've still got the horse trailer as well to do events, for example. So they are, and they're going from strength to strength. They've just won an award at our Love Annual Business Awards. And they're just amazing. I think they've got a real good energy as well, and for an independent business in the town centre. And I think that kind of energy that they've got, as well as a number of the other little indies, is just bringing a really nice community feeling to the town centre, which is great to see that energy. Yeah,
and I think it is, again, that community feel. So from that, and moving on from that, how would you say, like, local communities, or whether it's even community groups, community organisations, but local residents, how can they, or get behind now the town centre and help to support it more?
Use it. I think the phrase is, you use it or you lose it. And one of the main, my bugbears is, comments on social media, because that's where you see a lot of negativity is, there's nothing to go into Newcastle for. There is, people go into, you've got events that we put on, you've got the different businesses. If you're not going into there, how do you know, firstly, if there's anything on, if you haven't been in years because of whatever reason? But also, you go to the train station on a Saturday morning, Stoke Station. We've all been there. We've all headed out of the city on it's packed. Platform 2 is always rammed. But if a lot of people was actually on a weekend spending that time in the actual city in Staffordshire, not even just Newcastle, just in the local area, supporting the local high street, those smaller businesses. I think what's coming out at the moment for me, with your likes of Piccoloca, which to me feels quite, Manchester-y, coffee shoppy vibes, and you've got restaurants that are popping up like the likes of Stock, you've got Dumpling King in Hanley. I think they are the kind of vibes that people are leaving cities to go for and find in Manchester. You want the like big city experiences on your doorstep, but I think people maybe aren't looking close enough to home to find that. And there's different events that are on in the local area, whether it's Stoke Bid, who put on a lot of fantastic events. We do. Feasted had a fantastic event at the weekend. There is so much stuff happening in the local area. So it's find it, look for the good news, and stop focusing on the negative news. And just use it. Otherwise, they won't be there to go to.
Yeah, no, yeah. I get your point. And then also, you've touched on events and different events which take place, again, not just necessarily in Newcastle, but in Hanley. And like you say, Stoke Town was where Feasted had their sort of food fest going on at the weekend recently, which looked amazing as well. But events actually in the town centre. What types of events have you been introducing since lockdowns and everybody was allowed to get out, but the last couple of years especially? What have you seen by bringing in different events into the town centre?
I think it's about reanimating your high streets. I think it's like we've just touched on, is people saying, I've not been into Newcastle for years. There's nothing there. I think, it might not necessarily be that we put an event on and immediately every single shop's filled with people, but I think it's introducing that, bringing people back into the town centre, showcasing what's there in the town centre, showing it at its best, really, of these are the events we've got to offer, and also putting on a range of events that will, I suppose, appeal to different audiences as well. So, at the Bid, we've brought in a couple of weeks ago a classic car show that we've not done before, and looking at footfall numbers that we can look at footfall record there, is the impact that had on the town centre and where people were coming from and into Newcastle. We did a food and drink festival back in August, and a lot of the people were like, maybe from like Crewe, Nantwich way, have come into the town, and like, we've never actually been into Newcastle before. Like, it's such a lovely little town. I think that's what, to me, is so special about Newcastle. It has still got that like oldie charm, market town charm about it. It's really picturesque. We did a session for businesses to talk about what's your favourite part about Newcastle. A lot of people said like the favourite time is like summertime on the Iron Market, when the trees are in full bloom and people are sat outside having a drink, having a coffee, like out on the, like outside on the street. It's just such a nice vibe there, and I think it's that community picturesque vibe of Newcastle.
And from what you said there, people coming in from other areas, that's something pretty must be nice for you to hear as well.
Because that's the aim, isn't it? At the end of the day, you're showcasing what you've got to offer. And I think, you know, we run a annual local music festival called Limelight Festival, which has been going for, I think it's 11-12 years now, a lot of years, way before I was at the bid, and that's a really fantastic way for us to advertise local up and coming artists, and bringing people in from the outside to see, you know, what kind of talent the area's got to offer with regards to live music as well. And even, you know, people coming in for that, the footfall numbers are fantastic, but where people are coming from out of the area to come and visit are fantastic.
And the events, just going to touch on the events again. So from what you said there, again, you know, helping to put an event on, or putting an event on to suit different audiences, or trying the best to reach different audiences as well. So from what you say, you've mentioned the retro sort of car show and everything, which looked pretty cool. And then also, you know, Limelight again, that's a completely different. So are you getting, when you mentioned the different types of sort of cafeterias and everything as well, are these events bringing in the different age groups as well? Are they from younger to sort of the older age groups?
So obviously the car show was predominantly probably an older audience, I would say. Limelight Festival is quite a young, I wanted to say hip, but then that makes me feel really old, age range. But then we've also got like the Jazz and Blues Festival that runs in July, which is also then hits a little bit of an older target audience. You know, we've got a pop-up park that runs through the summer, which is children's events through the 6 weeks holidays. So we are, you know, tailoring those events to different demographics, but then also getting that feedback from businesses. It's not just about obviously getting people into the town centre, they see it and they go home. For example, like the food and drink festival, you thought might be, you know, you've got a lot of food vendors, people aren't going to be using the town centre businesses, but actually all of them were packed, because you speculate to accumulate and people come wanting food. All of the food traders sold out, so people were all in the restaurants as well. So it's having that benefit on the local businesses as well, so they see the pushback on that footfall, because it's, at the end of the day, it's advertising the town centre as being, again, I was going to sound really old then by saying with it, as knowing what kind of events people want to be seen. Because you know, there's no such thing as an original idea, and if people are doing events such as, you know, classic car shows or food and drink festivals in Stockport, and people are leaving the town centres and city to go to those events, why not bring them to them and keep that money in the local economy and not off on a train somewhere?
Off on a train, leave the train, going around Newcastle. I've just got visions of that, of people doing the conga, and all of a sudden, Charl, don't ask. But Christmas is coming though. That's where I'm heading. So Christmas is coming. So we've talked about events that take place throughout the year, new events again that have been brought into the town this year. What is going to be happening, can you say, or what can you say for a big Christmas celebration for 2024?
For 2024, well, we're in the midst of planning at the moment for 2024 light switch on. So the light switch on is actually something that is the bid look after. So we pay for all the seasonal lighting through the town centre, the Christmas tree, etc. All of that is funded by the bid, and therefore the businesses in the town centre, which I always think is really important for people in the town centre, whether it's businesses or the community, to know that these events that the bid put on are actually paid for by the businesses. So supporting them is actually supporting the businesses back. So the light switch on this year is on the 24th of November, which is a Sunday. We've got an artisan market, so the guys at Castle Artisan Market will be coming along. We've got a full schedule of performances and music from 12 p.m.
Wow.
We've got a Disney princess Christmas party, we've got Santa, we've got it's just very festive. We've also
it sounds very festive.
It is very festive. We've got we'll have some karaoke. We've got giveaways throughout the day for people to spend money in the town centre. And then on the 14th of December, we've got a food and drink festival, which is going to be more like a afternoon through to an evening. So mulled wine, your usual mince pies, some Christmas shopping. So we've got an artisan market there and some live music as well.
So you've got like a run up from the lights, continuing right up
until Christmas, to give people that, people again go out of the area, they go to Christmas markets, but actually bringing that into the local area. And again, one of my biggest things is I'm from Newcastle-under-Lyme, but I live in Staffordshire, and I just think, what's the saying, like blowing out someone else's flame doesn't make yours like burn any brighter. And I think it's important to know how many amazing like organisations there are in the local area doing great things around here to bring everything up. And I think everyone working together to do that will just make everybody else much more, their areas more busy, it's more engaging, people supporting each other. It's just everyone. I mean, you've got the likes of the Knot, for example, which is fantastic. Who've, they're always pushing out what's going on in the local area. Daily Focus pushing out obviously business news, yourself with business news. I think there's this really nice community at the moment of people who are just really passionate about Staffordshire, saying this is what's happening. So I think even being able to plan at Christmas, well, I'm going to do this on this day and I'm going to move over to Hanley on this day. There's literally a road in between the two of them.
A road.
It's a road.
That's all it is. Charl. You just need to step across the road. But it is important, and collaborations. Again, the more people that can work together, lots of synergy going on throughout Staffordshire, like you've mentioned. But let's go ahead a little bit to 2025 now, Charl. And again, just looking at businesses and independent businesses, I've seen, we've mentioned a couple that are new businesses that have already opened in the town centre. But what can you see? Is there any more coming for 2025 in Newcastle particularly?
With regards to businesses opening up, I'm not 100% on new businesses coming into the town, but what I do know for Newcastle is we've got a lot of investment for 2025 through to 2026 whenever the final plans go through. It's the Capital and Centric will be taking over 3 sites within Newcastle. So there's the Midway car park, which are looking to become accommodation. So they're going to be, there's been some renderings which I actually think look fantastic that have been put out there for the Midway car park. So that's going to be closing as it's been there forever. It's not suitable for use anymore, so that's going to be turned into housing. The York Place is going to be, that's already been started on Capital and Century, currently removing the insides of that to turn that into something amazing. The Rycroft area is going to be, that's also going to be, regenerated. We've got a new car park that's been built, and the main people are, why do we need the car park? Well, because one of them's been utilised for something else, it's not going to be there anymore, so there still does need to be parking. So I think there's a lot of change in the town centre. We've got Keele in town that are moving onto the Iron Market, so they're moving into an old building in the town centre. I think they're looking to be open the end of this year. I don't know if that's a spoiler, but I think they're looking to be open by the end of this year. So they're going to be bringing more, it's a university town, getting more students into the town centre. We've just had the flats which are on, used to be the former Sky building, which is Deacon's Yard. That's almost completed. So that's more student footfall within the town centre, more people in shops supporting businesses. So I think how the town centre will look next year, the year after, is going to be really different. And I think that will maybe move where the centre of the town centre is, or maybe where businesses are looking to probably be situated, new businesses that are opening, from my point of view.
I mean, from what you've just said there, just before you go, Charl, and
of course.
something which is quite exciting, not just the Keel development and everything what they're doing on our market, but also Capital and Centric, what they're already doing in Stoke, near to the railway station, the goods yard, and what you can see there, the transformation that they invested in there. But the investment then, what you've already mentioned there, coming into Newcastle town centre, it can only be positive, surely.
Well, so they are working with funding from the Borough Council, so we're working really closely with them. And Capital and Centric are fantastic. So, the work they've done down at the goods yard, they've, the work at campus in Manchester, they've done works in Sheffield, they're constantly. And I think one of the great things is they're really sympathetic to the buildings that they take on. But I think they just bring a really nice vibe and energy. So there was like a launch evening at Castletown Distillery in the town centre back in May to talk about what these developments could look like, to get feedback from the local businesses and from the community of this is what we're looking at and planning. And I think even that, from how they approach community from that perspective and engaging community, is just really fresh and vibrant, and I'm really looking forward to how they bring that to fruition and how it starts looking, because like you say, the goods yard's looking fantastic.
Charl, thank you so much.
You're very welcome. Thank you for having me.
No, thank you for coming in, and I wish you all the best for 2025, and also before that, of course, for Christmas and the Christmas lights switch on. That's Charl Pearce from Newcastle-under-Lyme here on Business Spotlight with me, Sonya Farrell.
Business Spotlight, shining a light on our local business community. Brought to you by Cross Rhythms and Baba Baboon.